Good morning, workforce. It is Friday, and just wanted to give a personal update this week for my vlog. And this is part of the new increased content schedule and putting out videos twice a day, pretty much every day so far, and trying to stream more. And I just wanted to kind of explain where that time came from. So a few, I don't know what all I've said. I try to be pretty open with you guys, but last year I began working for a startup in the cardiac health space, and they're doing really exciting things. And throughout the process and throughout their growth, they had the chance to sign some very large health systems. And as those were coming on board, they were scaling up their equipment, they were scaling up their costs, and we were trying to find kind of our identity as a company. And unfortunately, my position just didn't make sense when some of those deals didn't come through. When funding starts to get tight, then you start to see things like the tallest grass gets cut first. So whatever position is not directly necessary to keeping the business running, as long as those clients are not on board, really is kind of up for grabs. And so I was basically told that I can stay or I can go, but either way, I'm moving out of a salary, so I'm not really getting paid a guaranteed salary every month anymore. I was going to be tied to some of the revenue on these new deals that didn't come to be, so basically it would have been a percentage of virtually nothing. So that just wasn't a position that my wife and I were in. I would love to be able to take that risk and ride that roller coaster with this company, but that's just not something that we can do. And so that means that technically, as of today, as of this week, I'm unemployed. So I got my last paycheck, I believe, today. So that means that I've officially been laid off there as part of this brief downsize. It's not a company I would be afraid to go back and work for in the future, but it would have to be, there would have to be guaranteed growth, and that's all just a very personal conversation between me and them. What would make me want to go back to that? So what does that mean for what I want to do for a living? Well, I wasn't planning on being unemployed. This is the first time I've ever left a job not on my schedule, but instead on theirs. Once again, they didn't really express that this was what they wanted. They just said this is kind of a decision that they're having to make. And so I think it kind of surprised all of us. They may have known it was coming a little before I did. And so I don't really know. I usually have a plan B kind of already lined up, maybe even a plan C before I make a move. And there's definitely some other companies that I've had the opportunity to work alongside. Part of being in the jobs that I hold is that there's a lot of networking involved, and so you always kind of know what other doors are out there, but I hadn't officially knocked on any of them because I was happy where I was. So I'd like to start kind of pursuing those loosely and see where that goes. And then there's a couple jobs that I would actively want to go after, but I don't know if I'd be able to get. And in the meantime, Brian, this time last year was in a very similar boat to me for a very different set of reasons. And as his company was looking at going through a merger and all that, and out of that he started his own company, and as of this time this year is so busy that he like texts me when he just wants to like hear about video games because he has so little time to play them right now. And he is just working till all hours in the morning, and so he has very little time to spill over into games or the channel here. And so we kind of took it as a chance. Well, what if I take that over? What if for now, while he does that, I dump my time into the channel? And what if I don't just try to cover the amount of content that we like to cover together, but what if we actually up the production schedule? So what if I get up every day, and in addition to taking care of all the things that I need to take care of right now, I go ahead and start putting out more videos, streaming more, and just really grow the channel. And what that means is there's this fantasy in our minds that we never really expected to come true, but one day it would be cool if work to game wasn't really work to game anymore, that it was just this channel to game, and that we could just do this as part of some like full-time living. I don't know how it works. I don't know how the math gets there. There's a reason that Work to Game has always been centered the way it does, and that's because jobs provide benefits, jobs provide stability, and YouTube is not that. But you know, we've gotten to the point where the channel is getting big enough that we're ready to kind of make a stab at that. And so just to be completely transparent with you, that means that we're going to be shifting the money that we make on this channel into helping kind of set us up long term. So that's things like incorporating us and things like making sure that any expenses we have with the channel are covered. So that's making sure that we have working cameras, that we're able to go to FanFest and all of these other things. And somewhere down the road, it would be really nice if that was able to pay me enough that I didn't need to look for outside work. We're not there. So what does it take to get there? From our perspective, what do we have to deliver to the community to justify paying us? So we need to be a lot bigger. We need to, basically the way YouTube works is you get paid CPM. So if you don't know that, you get paid on ads. So every 1,000 ads that are sold are worth, you know, $1 or $2. And currently they're not able to sell ads against every single view of every single video. So it ends up getting averaged out, and then that number gets cut even further with the YouTube split. It's a 55-45. And so you can basically break it into, you know, roughly what you make per 1,000 views. And it usually hovers between $1 and $2 because the ad rate is usually $6 or $7, and then that gets cut down. And by the time it gets to you, it's $1 or $2. For most channels on YouTube. Occasionally you see channels drop below that. There's a handful of channels that are above that. That's usually based on the kind of advertisers interested in purchasing against that kind of content. So my understanding is like makeup channels typically see a very high CPM because there aren't enough videos at high view counts for the number of products that can be sold against those views. So that aside, everything I've studied about kind of and talked to other creators about tells me that ad revenue from YouTube shouldn't be more than 1/4 of your revenue. So whatever you're making over here, you should be able to match that in other things that you're bringing to your community that have value. So we're not asking for handouts. We're not asking for, because those aren't sustainable. They're not. If everybody that watches this channel gave $1 today, that money would run out. And so what you have to do is you have to look for ways to provide value to you guys that you can engage with. So that's increasing our Twitch content so that, you know, if YouTube ever decides to have another adpocalypse, that it's at least split across 2 sources. So there's an Amazon check and a Google check every month. Because if I was ever going to not be looking for full-time employment and I were to start taking a true W-2 paycheck from Work to Game, that's the kind of thing I would expect as an employee. That's the kind of stability I would expect. We need to be producing a lot more views per month. And so what that means is we need to engage with the kind of content you guys like. And so that's increasing the number of videos, and that's making sure that those videos have long-lasting quality and long-lasting value. So you've noticed a big push in guides, and that's directly feedback from you guys. I don't know if you know that that's the feedback we get from you, but the way you guys view, the way you guys, the thumbs up and the comments and the engagement and all the things that bring joy to making videos for you tell us that you guys will engage with guides for months, if not years after they're posted. And so it just tells me like I should strive to be a expert in every game I play so that I can translate it for beginners, because that's the thing that Brian and I seem to do differently than every other channel. And so we should just go for that, and there's no reason to not go for that. So it's not really that our view towards what we like about YouTube has changed. It's just that we need to be more aware of how YouTube pays us, because in the past we just utterly ignored it. We post whatever we want, whenever we want, and that's where the schedule's coming with. And this week's been really hard. It's in the first week, and not every post is gone up on time. And I think if you're going to try to make a living at this long term, you have to start by practicing how you want to play. And so I think we need to really strive to be on a more professional schedule, and we need to be more consistent, and there needs to be pre-rolled content. The advantage of pre-rolled content is twofold. That means, first of all, we have a better ability to thank our Patreons because we can give them early access. We're not putting it behind a paywall. It will still come out. They'll just get access to it a little bit earlier as a thank you. And then it also allows us to have sick days and days off and things like that. So I've got to get better about publishing things, scheduling tomorrow's videos today, and so on, so that we're really getting ahead. And so I'm just sharing a lot with you guys, kind of the thoughts that are going through my head, that as of today, YouTube cannot be a job. It cannot. It does not pay enough. But what steps would I have to take if I did want to start taking a paycheck from it? The money's not there. We're not big enough. I don't know if you know kind of how YouTubers are paid, but the top 1% of YouTubers are estimated to make $40,000 a year, and there's 2 of us. So even if we split it and we just did not pay taxes, that's still not going to pay for Brian and I to support us and our families. I mean, that doesn't pay my mortgage, much less food and to have a car and to have internet to post these videos and all these other things. And so it's just, you have to be above the top 1% to be there. And so what do the top 1% have that we don't? They have more consistent quality at a more consistent quantity over a very long period of time. So it just means that starting now, we just want to start building towards that. We want to have the goal of what if one day this could be a thing that we do with more of our time. How does this at least pay me part-time, so I'm only looking for part-time work, contract work, things like that, instead of looking for full-time W-2 employment outside of the channel that I really don't get to share with you guys. How do I make it so that most of my hours in a week are spent getting to make things and getting to engage with you guys? How do I make it to where, like, getting to respond to YouTube comments is like a productive thing in my day, and it's not something that I'm carving out a bit of time for and then I have to take a break from? It's like, no, this is good. I like doing it, and I get to do more of it because it's in line with what pays my bills instead of out of line with it, where I'm having to, I work over here and all I want to be doing that whole time is making videos, streaming games, and engaging with comments. And instead I'm having to say, okay, where do I have time for that? So it would be a lot cooler. You're going to see a big push from us on Patreon, because every creator I've seen that's able to make a start of this before they just get huge, everybody who can jumpstart that full-time pace, which is even more videos than 2 a day, even more streaming than twice a day, 3 days a week. Everybody that does that is doing that through Patreon. The ad revenue just isn't there. Donations are great. Subscriptions on Twitch are great. If we get access to being sponsored on YouTube, that's great. Those are all good things. The unique thing about Patreon is the way the money is split and how consistent it is. Ad revenue fluctuates with the market. It fluctuates with views. It fluctuates with the algorithm. It fluctuates with the way they're affecting notifications right now, where Brian literally has not been notified on some of our videos. And so, you know, that bell and all these things, and it's just not reliable. When you start to talk about sponsors and Twitch subscribers, those are great. The problem with them is those platforms are both taking roughly half of that money. So if your goal is to support something, right? If your goal is to support us and you want to give us $5 and you do it in either of those ways, you're getting no you're getting no ads and you're getting these benefits and everything, but we're only getting half of the money. And so Patreon is unique in that it's a truer form of the money you wanted to give us. If you felt that our content was worth paying $5 a month for, then Patreon is the purer form, because we're getting, it's like $4.95 of it. So we're getting like almost all of it. It also doesn't tie us to a platform. So when YouTube makes changes, when Twitch makes changes, when any of that, that's really scary for creators as far as I can watch. We've never been relying on the income. So we've been able to watch a lot of this and just kind of analyze it and sit back, and it's not our livelihood. But the kind of questions I need to be asking now, if I know that one day, a year from now, 2 years from now, whenever I want this to be my full-time designated income, I need to be asking questions like, would I be okay with the adpocalypse last year? No, I wouldn't. Would I be okay with the YouTube partnership changes? No, I wouldn't. So those are all really scary things as a creator. Patreon knocks you out of that. And that's why you see people like Philip DeFranco moving to DeFranco Elite. So this has been a long ramble, and it's not a horribly exciting video. It's just something I wanted to be completely transparent with you guys. Brian and I would love for one or both of us to be at least part-time at this sometime in the next year. And you know, that which one of us you see more of will fluctuate on whose real life personal schedule allows for it. But us as a team want to be growing the channel more aggressively, and we want to do it by giving you guys the things you want. So if you would just keep leaving the great comments you leave. People request guides. People, you know, tell us criticisms on guides. People bring new information to light. They send us messages when there's a new topic they want us to cover, or you guys ask about different games we're not covering. And these are all the things that tell us, okay, what is other content we could be putting out? And then when we put out those views, you guys watch them and you thumbs up and you subscribe and you share and all these great things. And that's what tells us to keep going down that road, keep making that content. And so we keep doing that, and you see us start new games from time to time, and then they just kind of peter off into nothing and they disappear. And sometimes it's because we're not having fun at it, and sometimes it's because you guys don't seem to engage with it. And if there's 4 games that I enjoy and you guys like one of them, it makes no difference to me to play that one. I'm not going to go play a game I don't enjoy, but there are a lot of games I enjoy. I'm really enjoying Final Fantasy in general across the last couple of years. 4.25 is currently kind of underwhelming. But 4.3 is right around the corner, so maybe that'll be what I need to just be totally stoked on current content again, instead of just leveling things. WoW kind of has me enamored right now. A lot of that's because I'm coming in late expansion, so even if the current patches are lame, I've got this whole backlog of content that I'm able to push through. So I know at some point I'll have to start being more aware of what's current, because that's what's going to determine how much I like that game as I get caught up. But really the whole goal with playing WoW was I was just trying to get back in it enough that I felt confident going into Battle for Azeroth. So as long as the game stays good through at least that date, which has just been announced, I think that's great. It's going to be awesome. So looking forward to getting into that and carrying that well into the fall. So I think that's it. I think that's me rambling. This has been by far one of the longer vlogs. This is going to go up Friday morning, this morning, recording it kind of first thing in the morning, and then Brian has a post up this afternoon, and then I will have a guide out this afternoon, and then we will move into this weekend. This weekend is Ethos Asher is going to be on our podcast with us, so that'll be Saturday at 5 p.m. live on Twitch, and then we'll push that over to YouTube when we're allowed. There's a window there where Twitch content doesn't like being published on YouTube. I assume somewhere in the user agreement there's the same thing in reverse. They just want to know that if that content's out there getting views, that they kind of have a brief embargo on it, since they allowed you to use their servers for free to put it out there. So that's a fair request. We'll honor that. So I think I'd like to keep putting out content at this rate. If there's anything different you'd like to see, seriously, just let us know. We do not want just handouts. We want to earn people's desire to support us. We want to earn people's desire to purchase merchandise and to do Patreon and all these other things. So what are the kinds of things that would make you want to be a patron? What are the kinds of things that would make you want to come back and view our content more often? Just honestly let us know. Help us just put out the content that you feel is missing from YouTube. If there is a type of video you'd like to watch and nobody else is making it, just tell us what that is, and we'd love to kind of consider if that's a route that we should be going down. So this has been Chris with Work to Game. This was kind of addressed at the community. I'm kind of just talking on behalf of Brian and I assume he agrees with all of this. I said a lot of words here, so if he missed part of it, then maybe he can make a response. But don't worry about me. My wife and I have savings for this reason. We're gonna be fine, and I can find more work. That's not a problem. Dallas is one of the hottest job markets in the country right now. There are industries with under 1% unemployment. So I just need to go out there and find that right job. And in the meantime, the goal is to learn how to start producing content at a faster and higher level, so that one day this little experiment of Brian and I's could maybe pay one or both of us, because the more I thought about it, the more that's kind of a dream come true, to just get to sit here and engage with you guys and play video games and talk about it for a living. So thanks so much. Have a great weekend. Next week I'll try to make a lighter and brighter vlog, so let's go with that.
Hey Chris, I really like what you do on this channel, and I want to say thanks. How can I do that?
You know, you could try being a patron.
Oh, okay. So tell me more about it.
Well, I think you'd have to click on the link to take you to our Patreon page and see if you want to support it. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to support just me. Okay. You're going to have to support both of us.
So this is kind of like a win-win. So if they support you, they support me, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Do we have like cool, fun rewards? Like, is there anything I get?
They do, and we're constantly looking for ways to change that. So if you support Team Brian, Team Chris, just teamwork to game, click on that link.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about the rewards too, whether you like them or if we could do something a little bit different.
And by the way, thanks for watching this video.
We really appreciate it.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.